I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel like a very cohesive, fun locker room to be in, versus
Right.
like the Bears currently,
Right.
where everyone's been kind of riding for each other, even in that little bit of adversity with the offense in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I read this week that Montez Sweat was complaining. He's like, "You guys, I kept wanting to 3-and-out so I could get back out there and try to sack Trevor Lawrence, but he said you guys kept going in these drives, and he's like, I never got a chance."
Yeah.
So it's funny, kind of the tables turned a little bit, where
Right.
the defense wanted their opportunities they weren't getting. Um, yeah, it's fun to watch, and honestly, like quieting down the noise a little bit on the Twitter or X and Facebooks and and TikToks and stuff of all the people that were he's a bust, a few games. And
Yeah.
again, and I'm not saying he's a Hall of Fame quarterback yet either. I just you don't.
You,
It's you got to give him a few seasons.
you even had the people that were saying our defense was a bust, and one person gets injured, and our whole defense is falling apart. It's like Jaquan Brisker didn't come to London because he's hurt, and yet somebody else steps up and plays the hits, and like it, it's just a very underrated team, I think, and kind of
Yeah,
just expect the Bears to do Bears things, which I understand. Like,
yeah,
I
for
also
sure.
was like scared to be excited about the season because the
Yeah, we
Bears
have
usually,
PTSD
yeah,
from,
screw stuff up. But
but I will say, and haven't said it before, it feels different. It just
yeah,
does. Offensively, the defense feels very similar to what we've had in the past. Like great defenses. People don't
yeah,
talk about 2018 was an amazing defense, and really that's I think Mitch Trubisky had a couple 300-yard season that year, but
yeah,
not compared to how good that defense was playing again, um, to similar to what we have now.
if we have a better kicker,
And
we could potentially be going to the Super Bowl that year.
yeah, right, yeah. Which I watched one game and they were bouncing it off the upright every other kick. It might have been that Jets Bills game or something. It was missed
Yeah,
field goal after missed field goal.
because the
And I was
Jets
like,
field goal kicker
what has
missed like a
happened?
few kicks
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
wind was like swirling.
Hitting the upright, I
Yeah,
honestly too. And it was like, how are you doing
yeah.
this? Um, yeah, so let's take a quick break right here. And after we come back, we'll talk about that Jaguars game. Mm. Give me 1 second. I'm going to save that. And we're back in 3, 2, 1. All right. So week 5 versus the Jaguars. Obviously, if you see in the scores, you know that we had a fun week this week. It's it was an early game, so we had to get up early to watch it, which was kind of interesting too. I used to live in San Diego. It was much like that, getting up early and watching games because they come on at 10 o'clock, 10:30
Yeah.
or 10 o'clock in San Diego. So,
No, it's 6:30
um,
game, right? If you were there still.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're
Jesus.
going really early for that
Yeah.
one. Um, but yeah, what'd you see? What'd you thought? What were your thoughts and any any of your kind of overall overview of the game?
Yeah, I was 4 points away from my prediction.
Yeah, that's right. It was really close. We were talking about that during the game. I was
Yeah.
like, actually, man, you were because I had went a little conservative, and with the offense coming alive, you were right in the wheelhouse there. You did guess their points, right? You
I
guessed
was
17.
I was 17. They were at 16.
Oh, okay, that's right. I was
Yeah.
like, you right around there. I remember
30.
that you
I guess
guessing.
38-17, and it was 35-16. So
I mean, that's a pretty good call.
yeah. I
Especially since our offense hadn't put up that many points to this
yeah.
juncture. So
I liked it. It was fun to watch. Cole Kmet's getting a lot of action. That play where they fake it left, fake it right, and then hit the tight end up the seam is
Yeah,
spreading around the NFL like crazy right now. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's been in a
yeah.
quite a few teams have played it,
Well,
and
because
it's
it's almost like it's almost like a triple pass option, right?
yeah,
You got the flat guy, you got a check down guy, and then you got the seam guy, and then you pass to multiple guys throughout the game, which leaves that wide open because
yeah,
they're kind of expecting other things to happen on that,
yeah.
you know.
Um,
Um,
but it's cool to
I do
see
love that.
Komet getting involved. It's kind of I know that was a quote unquote it was my dark horse of the year, but I think because with all the weapons that we had, but it's cool to see him
Yeah.
get involved. Allen's getting involved. Moore
Yep.
was this close for a touchdown, uh,
Yeah.
which would have
Well, actually had one and they called back, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, Yeah, so they talked at the beginning of the game. One of the things kind of bugged me. They talked about, oh, they're scripting the first 15 plays. It's like, why is it? We're 5 games in. We're just now trying that stuff out, you know?
yeah,
And they're like, and that's what even like I think it was Troy Aikman, whoever one of the commentators was like, well, I don't understand why you wouldn't be to this point. You have a rookie quarterback, you know? And I think it was Kurt Warner because he was like, I loved it. I would
yeah,
walk through everything that could happen in my head. For each pass and what to avoid and watch tape on the guys that I'll be facing and you know and then we ended that 3 and out and it was like okay, what was the point?
yeah,
At first 15 is going to be the first half at this rate, you know what
yeah,
I mean? So much I don't know, not as much to be said about that as they were trying to make it out to be. I think you have kind of idea of your game plan anyway going in, but
right,
they executed much better on that second time through, and once you get moving and you get in the groove, they just never really came out of
yeah,
that groove,
100%.
once they got into it.
It was fun to see
um
too. Every time Cole Komet was scoring, Caleb was doing the home run hit as well.
yeah,
His little
yeah.
celebration
And
as well.
to your just to reiterate that point, your dark horse being Cole Clement, I think he is like quietly one of the best tight ends because you get the Kelseys and the Mark Andrews type of guys that kind of get the accolades around the league, but he's
I,
doing it all. And when he's having great games where it's just like a lot of him blocking and stuff, you don't hear a word about him.
yeah,
Of course, a 2 touchdown game you're going to hear about, but
yeah. I think he's probably one of your top ranked second tier tight ends. Obviously,
for
you got
sure.
your Kittle, Kelsey, like you said,
Yep.
Mark
Yeah.
Andrews, but then I think he's
Your Iowa tight ends,
yeah.
you mean?
But I think he's probably one of the top second tier tight ends because
Yeah.
he's kind of like Kittle where he kind of does everything well, uh, and still brings
Kittle's a
that
much better runner with the
yeah,
ball than Komet is.
yeah,
That's where I think Kittle is definitely better. But yeah, the laying his life on the line to block for one, and then he for the size of that man, he has good hands
yeah,
because he's like I would say he's bigger than Kittle too, right? I mean, as far
yeah.
as
He's
it looks
taller
like it,
for sure.
yeah.
Uh,
So that would kind of be why there's a difference there in running with the ball, um, but yeah, I'm a fan of how much they brought him along this year
yeah,
and involved more in actual point production, in
right,
the offense.
yeah. It was
And then just that one play, he just shouldn't have had a touchdown. Really, it was like the breaking a tackle, and then the lunge at the end
yeah,
for the extra 5 yards. It's like, well, that's just him,
yeah,
the yak getting in the end zone afterwards. Which as a quarterback, you got to love that.
yeah. Uh, but I will say I want to see Doug Kramer up the middle.
Yeah,
So bad.
I know. We're knocking on that door too. I
Yeah,
mean, they've been running him as the fullback,
yeah,
Well, it's like, well, now that's on tape, so just hand him the ball now,
yeah.
you know?
It's gotta happen at some point, right? Like
He's surprisingly smooth.
yeah,
I've liked the way he looks coming off the ball in the back. It's
yeah,
like, he's not like he's like a downhill runner actually.
yeah. And he smokes that empty blitzer that's coming in all like when the
Yeah.
defender's coming in, he will hit them
I mean,
hard.
you really have to almost have a defensive lineman to be able to not be run over by that dude. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Your linebacker's got to be a big dude to stop that
because
guy.
they're at least standing up every time he hits them.
Yeah, and I mean he's got and after a few steps he's going full speed. So then
Yeah,
it's you know That's a tough stop.
It's a 300-pound man
Um,
just coming right at you.
yeah, yeah, and I mean that speaks for itself. You know,
Yeah.
even if you're only going 5 miles an hour, try stopping it. You know.
Yeah.
So as far as the numbers go, 23 for 29 for Caleb, which is awesome. 100, 124.4 passer rating, 226 passing yards. Of course, there was a bunch of rushes. Swift, Caleb, Johnson, Badgen only had those passes because of the end of the game, or the -3 because he was doing the victory formation at the end of the game. But Swift, 17 for 91 is awesome. 5.4 yards per carry, longest being 19 yards. Just reiterating the point again, what you said a few weeks ago, you get him in space and he's going to be a whole different running back, and he has been the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And then you got Williams, or I mean, Roshan, only 5 carries. He had 7 last week for 8 yards, but I think that difference in speed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The difference in carries. And then everybody got passes. Komet, Allen, Swift, Moore, Adunze, Roshan, Mercedes Lewis, Gerald Everett. So everyone was getting
Ro-
passed too. And
Roshan
then
had some.
everybody but Everett, I think, caught one there.
Roshan had some
So,
cool catches too.
yeah,
He was trying to be swift out there.
yeah. Which I love to see. You know, it's like, man, that's culture. You know, it's like
Yeah.
wearing off, just having him in the building, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, tipping it to yourself kind of stuff. Adunze looking awesome when he's got the ball in his hands running down the field. Toy Taylor not very busy, averaging 61.5 yards a punt though.
Yeah.
Only 2 punts for 123 yards, but 61.5. I mean, geez, just put him in the Hall of Fame now. Who's doing that?
Yeah.
Who's
It's
averaging that? I mean, you don't have to. What are you? If you're averaging that, you don't have to get very many yards to pin them deep. You know what I
no.
mean? Every time. Which I think adds again to another element for our defense.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course there was not too much on the kickoff return or punt return games. A few yards here and there. Not too much for injuries either, which is good to get out of a game in Europe because those soccer fields are notoriously, I don't know, they've been mixed reviews for football
Yeah.
being played on them. So um, yeah, I think for me the strengths on offense this week was the passing game, and that was the running game's complementary to the passing
Yeah.
game instead of the vice versa. And then they could not run or pass on us. There was as far as weaknesses go. There was a couple gashings here and there, but the defense really was short up. They didn't let them.
Yeah.
They did give up that field goal in the first drive, which is the first time the Jaguars scored on their opening drive. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's better than the
Um,
touchdown we've been giving up on the opening drive.
exactly,
So
exactly. And so there was growth there. But that's been our thing, letting them score. So kind of a weakness on the defense, letting them score on their first drive.
right.
And weakness on offense is that kind of the rookie mistakes, like you mentioned earlier. You know, um, trying to fit balls in where he shouldn't, or that interception. When it could have been over the top, where it just either no one can catch it or just just your guy. But overall, I did see improvement. And there's one play I loved, which was he was going to do a screen pass and saw that it was getting overrun, so he just threw it at the feet of the running back instead
Yeah.
of getting him clobbered and getting negative yards anyway.
Right.
That's stuff I didn't see Justin do
Right.
or Mitch, because that's just thinking on your feet and being very cerebral with decision making. You lose it down, but you didn't lose a yard. So
Right.
and we got the first down the next play anyway. So it was like perfect. You're doing what you should be doing there.
Right.
What about you? What'd you see that you thought was maybe a weakness or strength that stood out this week? Because we've been, I think, reiterating kind of the same strengths, right? Just building on them.
Yeah. I think the strengths. I mean, I think getting Keenan Allen involved is kind of a new strength that we've been doing because we've
Yeah,
been trying, but it's kind of just been unsuccessful. But seeing him and Caleb kind of get their moment together was nice.
yeah,
So it's kind of cool. You don't know who's going to score a touchdown that week. It's very cool to
yeah,
see. Dunze's due for his week because kind of everybody else has had their week so far. I mean, Allen and um, Komet kind of both had it this week, and Moore had it last week, and Swift had it the week before. So hopefully we get to see kind of a Doomsday blow up here soon, because that'll be fun to
Yeah.
watch as well. But yeah, I think it's been kind of like the same stuff. We're just doing we're doing the small things right now, and like the offense is kind of stepping up, the line is stepping up, and I mean Jacksonville's got some decent edge rushers, so it was nice that we didn't really have. I don't know if we had any sacks. We had 3 sacks, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
3 sacks is kind of, I mean, still tough, but still, I mean,
And honestly, like, just aside from the sacks, Trevor Lawrence did not look comfortable all
no,
day long.
no,
So that aside, whether you're getting sacks or not is kind of irrelevant if he's not completing passes, as far as
yeah,
making points anyway. Because they did kind of dink and dunk us here and there, but
yeah,
especially in that second half when we were up, it's like we let him move the ball a little bit to, kind of bend but don't break a
yeah.
little bit.
Blackwell getting
Um,
that interception was cool to see.
yeah, yeah.
And then we also had a fumble recovery, I
And
think.
he was, and he was in there for Jaquan Brisker, I believe,
I think so.
or kind of filling a spot for a
Yeah,
guy filling a spot. So, yeah, again, depth in the defense. But just to circle back around to your Keenan Allen point, I think it was Keenan hasn't been even though he's back, hasn't been 100%, and we're finally
yeah,
starting to see Keenan get to also, like you mentioned, get the chemistry because he hasn't been
right.
healthy enough to really run through his routes and Caleb know where he's going to be when he's full speed. Um,
I also,
yeah, so if the defense doesn't know where it's going, man, that helps a lot.
yeah, I also think the shot on Kyler Gordon was a little where he got hurt and was kind of
Yeah,
I don't agree with that, but he did.
yeah,
I feel like it should have been a penalty, and he got hurt about it too, which pissed me off a little bit more. But
yeah. You know how I am.
yeah,
I'm all for, like, if you're gonna call it on both sides or don't
yeah,
call it at all. You know what I mean? But it wasn't being called both ways.
yeah. In the
Um,
beginning, me and
it,
you were
at,
texting
at,
back and forth, and it really seemed Jags heavy. Like we were not getting
they
anything.
literally gave them a complete pass on a ball the guy touched the ground. He
Yeah,
literally picked the ball up off the ground.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't even. On one of the X comments was like, "Is this should this been reviewed?" I'm like, why? Why did they even have to review it? It wasn't
yeah.
a catch. Like,
Right.
I could see that in the real time, the first place. Yeah. So let's do a little bit of Dead Thread sponsor here. Shout out to Dead Thread here, and then when we come back, we'll do the what we think we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
what we were working on in the bye week.
And I gotta buy the numbers as well afterwards too. I got that pulled up.
Okay,
So.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's getting more and more interesting by the numbers because
Yeah.
we keep kind of setting records and breaking records, especially for rookie QBs and
Yep.
Bears specifically, QBs in general
Right.
overall. Yeah, so if you're all about expressing yourself through what you wear, then you got to check out Dead Threads. They've got the most wicked collection of t-shirts that scream individuality. Want vintage vibes with your favorite team? Dead Threads has a tee for every vibe and occasion, whether you're chilling at home, hitting the streets, or even hosting your own podcast. Make sure you check out Dead Threads and tell them Barely Maintaining sent you. So bye week. Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's a good spot, right?
Yeah.
5 games in now? 6 games in? What are we at? What is this week's?
6 games in, right? We're 4-2. Yeah.
4-2. That feels good to say too.
Yeah.
Right, because even when we had some success over the last few years, we didn't come out the gate gunning, and we kind of earned it back, But now we're in a good spot.
It's crazy to think too. There is a world where we're 6-0 if a couple plays go our way. Because we lost those
very,
games.
very close, actually. And again, the only loss that we in those first games that we have lost that we said would be the Indianapolis game, because I had us winning the Titans, losing to Houston anyway, which we did, and then winning Indianapolis, and then I had us losing at the Rams, and we won that game, and then won Panthers and Jags. So I had us at 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 2 anyway. Just the loss came to a different team.
Yeah.
But it's been an unpredictable year, and that Rams team isn't who we thought they were. Indianapolis, I honestly do not know how we let that happen to us.
Yeah, I think it's just getting the
We're a couple
rotation
Jonathan Taylor
started.
runs from winning that game too.
Yeah,
We stopped him. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's like uh we let him gash us a couple times. It's like, what are we doing?
yeah. I think we could have been a lot better in that game, and it and the Texans too. Like I mean, a couple plays go our way, and that one, I mean, it's
Yeah.
interesting to think like have the confidence of like we could have easily been 6-0. Like I get it, we're 4-2, but either way, having confidence off 4-2 is great too.
And we could have we actually had the ball and could have been we're driving in in both those games, you
Yeah,
know. Kind of messed it up in both situations. But the main thing to me was we were 1-2 and flipped the switch.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Where a lot of teams are starting, okay, uh,
yeah.
what are we gonna do?
Who do we
Maybe we
trade
move some
away? Who
pieces.
do we do that?
Move some pieces, get some more draft capital. We
Right.
need linemen, but it's like, well, if you get linemen in the draft, you got a couple of years before they, turn into the Darnell Wrights and Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah.
Um, so I do like seeing that those guys got their shit together, got a little more continuity there.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb definitely looks like he has more time to throw or is more comfortable in there at the pocket anyway.
Yeah, I feel like he does too. I love too. I'm still seeing some people like he holds the ball too long. He has one of the lowest, uh, like time. I forget what the stats called, but
Release times, yeah.
yeah, one of the lowest release times. Like, well, how is
He
this
for
man?
last week or the week before was the lowest.
Yeah, how is this guy's
So
like? He just catches flack because people just want to hate on him.
yeah, and they look for something like that that means something. Honestly, you can hold it for 20 minutes if you're completing passes. I mean, at one point, Pat
Yeah,
Mahomes was holding the ball the longest, but it was because he was running around everywhere, and then he would complete a 30-yard pass to,
yeah.
you know, a wide open Tariq Hill or whatever. So,
And there's
um,
times where
yeah,
last year when Justin Fields was holding it so long, it's like okay, I understand why he's holding it for so long. There's other
yeah,
times where he's running 20 yards backwards, putting the ball on the ground, and fumbling it. It's
right,
like okay,
yeah,
it can't be both. Like you have to
right,
either get rid of the ball quick and make your decisions quick, or be a improviser that is able to kind of do the Russell Wilson things, do the Pat Mahomes things when Russell Wilson was in his prime, where he used to do that, run backwards and spin quick and get a couple
right.
more seconds to throw the ball. And like you have to be able to do one of those good and not both of them average.
I realize now though, having being a Bears fan and having the number one draft pick in it be a quarterback, they're going to try to shred him no matter what.
Yeah,
You know, uh, look at we're still shitting on Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young and the lack of success for those guys.
yeah,
You know, so I try not to read too much in it because they just look for anything, and there's improvement whether they want to admit it or not. From week one to week now, he's a much better quarterback just
yeah.
by rating, yards, release time. I mean, every metric that you can measure quarterback, he's improved in really.
Right.
Um, and they threw 50 times in that second game. His second or third NFL game, the kid threw 50 times. It's like, I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Um, so also again, almost a victim to a guy that was working out his system in Shane Waldron while a rookie's trying to learn the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think that's some big hills to kind of overcome out the gate.
Right.
Our schedule helps a little bit, but
Yeah, I think
we
so
got
too.
Washington coming up, who is a total different team than they were last year.
Yeah.
Arizona, who from week to week could be great depending on um, how many points Call of Duty's given out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think we
uh,
right around release date, so might be
yeah,
good for us.
that's right. They do, yeah. And then we got Patriots, who now Drake May is starting, so they could be by then getting their feet underneath them. And then we go into our, of course, our run in the NFC North, which is the hardest division
Yeah.
to face. So,
Yeah.
but again, I've been saying it all along, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just bias. I think there's a cliff coming for the Vikings.
I think so
That
too.
5-0 is going to look a long way away at some point.
I was thinking it'd be this week maybe, but the Aiden Hutchinson thing really kind of screws the Lions.
Yeah.
because I think
for
that's
sure.
gonna slow them down a bit. But their offense too is very fun to watch, and it's got a lot going on.
But
So
I just again like Justin Fields. What is Sam Darnold when you're 2 touchdowns down
yeah,
starting the third quarter?
yeah,
That's when it really matters. You know what I mean? When you got to make decisions and you got sweat running down your back because you're already nervous about it.
yeah,
Um, as far as the bye week, I just want to see him work out. Like, let's get a first drive where we get points. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That's the one thing I don't want to see is just, especially coming off a bye week and going against Washington. Which Aiden Daniels going to throw some touchdowns, so we
yeah,
got to score. You know what I mean? So you got to come out. Maybe not though, because we got a great defense, and you can kind of see in the what they're scheming him up for. You know what I mean? He's throwing maybe 2 or 3 passes long, but it's between the numbers or between the numbers and the outside on the right side most of the time.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, working out scoring and then defense stopping that first drive.
yeah. And this
You
would be
know,
nice
and
too because I would assume we'll be guaranteed to have Brisker's back because
yeah,
he was thinking
yeah,
about
that'd be
coming to
nice.
London. And
Right.
then if he was thinking that, then bye week and then a game is like okay,
Yeah, and
he's
now
almost guaranteed
he's
to have it back.
after. I mean, he wasn't really. I don't think he was almost good enough to be in the game last week, and he wanted to be there so bad. So
Yeah,
a little bit of chip on his shoulder,
yeah.
maybe moving in this game.
That he already has anyways. So
Yeah, right, right. And then of course Jalen Johnson, and then Kevin Byard too,
yeah,
who so that back end is gonna be good. We are again, this is week 8, not week 7. The week 7's our bye week, but we are at Washington. So
okay,
uh I do know that their locker room is like a prison. So
yeah,
their visiting locker room. so
nice.
so a little bit of downside there.
Uh,
Got to get your tetanus shot before you go.
yeah. Do you want to see some by the numbers or hear some by the numbers?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's do by the numbers and then I'll do some fanatics
Yeah,
commercial, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about what we got coming up though. Pick'ems, and I got some players for you to think about who you'd bench.
yeah. All right. So for the Jaguars game, 79.3, which is Caleb Williams' completion percentage, the best by a Bears rookie quarterback in a game since at least 1970. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
I mean, I guess it's amazing. It's more amazing that we haven't had that since
yeah,
1970. I think that, but I love Caleb. So
yeah. The next number is 68, and that is years since the Bears last scored at least 5 offensive touchdowns in back-to-back games in the same season.
see, that's different. That we've never seen that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like all this is doing is making me depressed that our offensive sucked.
definitely, but it's like, wow, what would it feel like if this was the beginning of everything being different?
yeah,
Because Kansas City was there at one point.
yeah,
Eagles didn't win squat until a few years ago.
yeah. This next
Oh,
number last week was 11, but this week it is 12. And that is consecutive games the Bears have held the opponents to 21 points or fewer. If you're doing that, you're winning games. Like,
yeah, we talked about the beginning of the year. Like the difference when even last year was like, if you're scoring 24 points, you're winning games. If you're scoring 21, you're losing them. So
yeah,
again, same thing this year. If you can hold them below 24 points, you're going to win these games, right?
yeah. And then we got 18 years since the Bears won back-to-back games by at least 19 points. 124.4. That was Williams' passer rating on Sunday, the second highest by a Bears rookie quarterback in a game since at least 1970. The only better mark came last weekend when Williams posted 126.2 rating against the Panthers. So he now has the best quarterback ratings since 1970. 1 and 2. 50, yeah. 54 years since the Bears last had 2 players with at least 2 touchdowns. 3 reserve defensive backs who played key roles filling the injured starters. Let's see. Jalen Jones, who started for Tyreek Stevenson, had a career high with 10 tackles. Safety Elijah Hicks, who replaced Jaquan Brisker. And Josh Blackwell when Kyler Gordon went down. And then 19 years since an NFL player scored a touchdown and then snapped a extra point. Komet did it twice on Sunday,
Oh, that's
becoming the
right.
first
Yeah,
player to do it since the Eagles' Mike Bartram in 2005. And then I
we talked about
also,
Komet. We didn't even mention that he was long snapping.
yeah,
So
I
great step up on special teams for him.
also saw he won Special Teams Player of the Week.
Yeah, NFC
Yeah,
special teams player of the week. Caleb Williams was chosen FedEx Air Player of the Week.
yeah.
Um,
And
so
then,
man, this accolades, a ton of accolades on this offense.
yeah. And then another cool one was 265 and 3,467. It's third down receptions and yards, respectively. Allen has accumulated in his NFL career.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that is ridiculous. Um, he caught a lot of passes from not a lot of different quarterbacks. Really, it was like Philip Rivers and Justin Herbert for most of it, I think.
And then last week this was 8, but 9 consecutive home games the Bears have won since technically this was a home game.
Yep, yep,
So,
and it's the longest active streak continuing.
yep.
Um, yeah, because just as a comparison, do you see the Cowboys at home?
Yeah. For some reason they cannot win at home, but they can win other places. Kind
Yeah,
of.
and now it's not even looking like they can do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let me do this Fanatics commercial real quick, and when we come back, we will do start bench cut, this week's pick'em games, and Ryan's player stat trivia.
I want to take a break from the podcast to tell you about Fanatics. At Fanatics, you can find everything you need to support your team, from jerseys and hats to hoodies and accessories. They've got it all. It's officially licensed, so you know you're getting the real deal. And here's the best part. We've teamed up with Fanatics to bring you an exclusive offer. When you use the code 24SHIP at checkout, you'll get free shipping on orders over $24. Plus, by using our special link in the show notes on our website, you'll be able to directly support our podcast. So head over to fanatics.com, load up the best Bears gear, and use code 24SHIP for free shipping on orders over $24. It's a win-win to show off your Bears pride and help keep Barely Maintaining going strong. Thank you for your support, and as always, bear down. Now let's get back to.
All right, thank you, Ryan. How did we do this week on pick'em games? Again, it's been all over the place. So we've been all over the place on who we pick and who's been winning.
Well, Michael, you went 3-1.
Wow.
Yeah. The only loss you had was the Broncos, which I had as well. I went 1-3. We are now tied 12-12. You've closed the gap. So
I did. I'm proud of that fact because I came out and Ryan was undefeated for a couple weeks.
yeah. But you've
no
closed
loss,
the gap since.
which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's just laws of average have averaged themselves back out, right?
Yeah.
As far as the games, because it's been all over the place, and I think as an average kind of NFL fan, it has been impossible to. I mean, that's why we like to play DraftKings or a couple gambling sites, and a 10-game parlay will kill you in this NFL. There is no way to pick 10 games and not get screwed. And I will say, with that disclaimer, Ryan got as close as I've seen anyone get this week, because especially in college football.
Yeah.
That's like NFL's been like college football this year.
Yeah.
But Ryan got damn close.
Yeah, by one game.
I think it was one team.
Tennessee not covering 14.5, but I got the 8-leg parlay in the NFL. So,
which is insane that you got that, because I mean, pick 8 games this year. Pick any 8 games that you just can't. If you look at the schedule, we do a survival pool, and I look at the survival pool, and it's like there's no easy game.
Yeah.
Even for the teams that are good.
Right.
The Ravens, which again, the survival pool, once you pick them, you can't pick them again. But yeah, they screwed me. They lost to Vegas at home. And then I picked Vegas the following week because, hey, they just beat the Ravens at home. They lost to Carolina at home. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would have been out of the survival pool twice in the first 4 weeks. Yeah, and then I was struggling to even get back in. So then I picked the Bears, and they won that game that week, and I got back in the winner's circle.
Yeah.
But it's been all over the place. What games you got this week?
And I want to put this out there that I do pick the teams before I tell you. That way, it's not like I'm just switching around. Uh, so
Yeah, no, that's okay. I
Chief,
don't care if you did because I mean, what does it matter?
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's got to be kind of by feel anyway,
yeah.
right? And that
First,
still doesn't even matter.
first game I got is Chiefs at 49ers.
I would love to pick against. I mean, I'm going to pick 49ers. I'm just going by emotion, and I want them to win it. But that one's a hard pick because the Chiefs just keep winning by the skin of their teeth. Also, whoever their whatever officials they have on their payroll, they've been paying them. No, I'm just kidding. They've been paying them well. No, they just been getting some good calls. The ball's been bouncing their way, so to speak, which is like, dude, they got 2 Super Bowls in a row. Like,
Yeah.
whatever football god there is, why is the ball bouncing their way? You know.
Right.
But I feel like again with them, they haven't been winning these games. They've
Yeah.
been not losing them,
Yeah.
which is different. So I'm gonna pick 49ers just because I want them to win.
I took 49ers as well. I think this is the week the Colts finally or the Chiefs finally go down.
And if the Niners finally play like they're supposed to play,
Yeah, I mean, they're finally starting to connect a little bit, but I think they've got. I mean, this is kind of a revenge game for obviously from the Super Bowl. I think they've got
Yep.
something to prove. Hopefully, it doesn't go into overtime. for
Yeah, no
49ers'
kidding.
sake, but I think 49ers got this one.
yeah, I agree, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Going to my head, I'm probably gonna end up dying. You know, in this case. Ugh.
Next game I got is Jets at Steelers.
Jets at Steelers. I'm going with Steelers. I just don't feel confident about this Jets team. They just are too all over the place. They did look much better, but Mike Tomlin, the stability versus whatever coach they have right now, interim head coach, and I think Nathaniel Hackett was the issue, one of the issues though. Whatever attachment Rodgers has to him, I don't. They looked a lot better without him last week, this week, Monday night.
Yeah, I mean Jets look great. They're finally kind of getting back on pace, but also I think there's a lot of issues, and I don't think Devontae's gonna make a change this week. So I think it might be next week. With that being said, I'm gonna take the Steelers as well because I think that defense is just a lot to handle.
I forgot about Devontae. Now I'm questioning that, but I'm sticking with Steelers. There's just more stability there.
Yeah. I mean, it's the freaking Packers 2.0. I mean, they've got Lazard. They've got Devontae Adams. They've got, like... It just is... He's just building the Packers.
Yeah. The same Packers team from 10 years ago, though, and now they're just all old.
Yeah. And they...
Bakhtiari, where you at?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers there, too. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is they're kind of still screwing around with the quarterback, and I don't know... Honestly, I don't know why. Like, not even out of a selfish Bears fan. Justin Fields, like, the cohesion's going with Justin Fields, and like, why are you interrupting that by putting Russ in?
As a Bears fan, I am being selfish. I mean, start Justin Fields, but also I've been following on X all the Steelers fans, and they are all screaming for Justin Fields too.
Yeah,
he's 4-2 or whatever the record is. He's like, what are you doing? But they don't want to give us that big of a pick. A fourth is way different than a sixth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's a starter versus a secondary player, maybe a starter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of the feeling there, but because I don't see why you would go with Russ. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah. I don't think he has a very long leash.
No, I don't think so either. Because, I mean, why? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But third game is Broncos at Saints.
Broncos at Saints, and the Saints just took a beating.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going with Broncos because I think Derek Carr is out.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't even care that they're home. Bo Nix is getting his stuff together. I'm not like a huge fan. I wasn't really, but he looks like other than him and Sean Payton back and forth, like
It's like
You
Sean
know,
Payton doesn't want him
the
to be
whole
good for some reason.
Ferris Bueller thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I think a lot of like any old Hall of Fame type of coaches, you don't want some young,
Yeah.
you know, maverick Top Gun coming and telling you how to do things. You know what I mean? Um, but I do think he has shown he can run an NFL offense
Yeah.
much better than Russell Wilson did, anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Broncos here too. Their
Are we
defense
just taking
is
the same teams so far?
apparently.
Yeah, that's
uh,
okay though. I mean, honestly, this is just our, I think, an average fan's take, right?
yeah. Yeah. I think their defense is kind of stepping up and helping out Bo Nix a lot. I like that Bo Nix too. Is he's very. There was a very clear drop that one of his wide receivers had. Obviously, I don't follow Broncos sports that much, so I don't remember who it was that was catching the ball. But a ball was thrown, deep ball into the end zone. Wide receiver through the basket, just dropped through the basket, and Bo Nix in the interview is like, "Hey, I overthrew it a little bit. He had to like do that kind of speed up run. If I don't do that and kind of slow it down an extra like a step back, and he's catching that. So like he took responsibility of it, and like that's a very like mature thing to do. Obviously, he's like 30 years old, anyways. So
That's true. He is very mature for a rookie because he has grandkids, but
but I still like
yeah,
that.
for sure. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Rodgers isn't doing that,
No.
and it's like, you know, like
Yeah.
I feel like Garrett Wilson isn't playing good because of that kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like he's in his own head.
Right.
Um,
Fourth game here is Ravens at Broncos or Buccaneers. I'm sorry.
oh man, that's a tough one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go Ravens though.
This is a pretty big. Got a lot of implements to it too as well. You said you're going who?
Ravens.
Ravens. This is where we divided. I am gonna go Bucks.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield.
He can get it done for sure. I'm just basing mine on the kind of momentum that Ravens currently
Yeah,
have.
and they
You know,
do have
because they
a lot of
feel
momentum.
like they should have won the first couple games, kind of like in a situation where for the losses that we have.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield threw
But
3 interceptions last week, and they still put up 51 points.
and then yeah, they still won. And Baker is, you know, he's just not gonna. What happened to him is like perfect for a guy like him.
Yeah.
Because he had the whole world and then it kind of all came crashing down, you know. And now he has all that talent, but now he has a chip on his shoulder, which I think is really what he needed.
Yeah.
You know, like to be humble and stuff. Because he immediately was on like every commercial in Cleveland about Cleveland, around Cleveland, you know, and it was like
Had the was he
ESPN
progressive
commercials
or
and
something where he was like he owned the stadium and just lived there?
yeah, it was his house or whatever. Yeah. So there was a lot of that stuff, you know, and now it's like I feel like he is kind of rejuvenated, but Harbaugh and that Ravens defense I think is good. But that would be a great matchup. One thing I did want to mention, our game for against Washington did get flexed. So it was originally supposed to be a noon game, and now it's going to be an afternoon game.
Oh, so we're one of the, and they've been doing it weird where there's like only like a couple games on.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, they do like 10 early games and like 2 afternoon games.
Yeah.
Or 1 afternoon game and then the night game. But yeah, we got flexed to at least the afternoon game from the noon game.
Cool.
Because most people want to see that matchup, Jaden Daniels versus Caleb. So let all the other games go, and then you get a kind of more elite spot, right?
Yeah.
So there's kind of all the teams, the more elite spot, and then the Sunday night game, which is like the Monday night or Thursday night game, which everyone kind of watches. Let's see. Do we have? We do have a Thursday night game, right? Or Thursday game at some point. I thought we did play Detroit on Thursday. Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, we got the Thanksgiving game. That'd be nice.
Yep. Yeah, because Detroit always plays terrible on Thanksgiving, no matter even how good the team is. I don't know why. It's just like they get the yips on that day. And also, like, we almost beat them twice last year. If not, we beat them once, did we not?
I honestly can't remember now.
We were beating up on them once, and they came back.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened. So, but we weren't out of those games for a team that was supposed to be so much better than us. And
No.
again, I think we have much better pieces now than we had last year.
Yeah. Especially a more cohesive team than we did last year.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of I think the guys are just rallying around each other, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. So real quick, let's do start bench cut because I'm curious. This one is a all wide receiver one this week. So who would you start? Who would you bench, and who would you cut out of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze?
I thought this is where you're gonna go. All right, so I would keep DJ Moore, or like start DJ Moore.
Yeah,
he's just obviously elite. But I think the two get hard because Odunze shows a lot of talent. But Allen obviously has the veteran mentality where he's knows where to be on plays, kind of knows how to read Caleb, and kind of where to put himself. That number for third downs is crazy. That he has like 3,500 yards on third down.
Insane.
Yeah.
And the guy especially made a living out of the up and outs, which is like a quarterback's best friend, you know.
Yeah. That being said, I think I benched Odunze and cut Allen. I think Odunze, the play style he has, brings a little bit more to the table. He can do those end arounds. Honestly, he's kind of like he's basically DJ Moore 2.0.
Yeah, and I would say honestly, I being a San Diego is my secondary fan, or LA now, Chargers secondary fan. Keenan Allen is usually not available for all 17 games, which again he won't be this year. That he just not that he's injury prone, but he just gets banged up, you know. So
I think with the youth of Odunze, if you're talking longevity, I think DJ Moore is young enough to where, but he's also got the veteran abilities, and then Odunze, like I said, just brings a different level of style of play as well, where he can do the quick routes, he can do the deep routes, and he can do the kind of specialty plays where he's running reverses or running quick slants or running screens or whatever it is. I think he's just kind of plus him and Caleb have something special together. Like I think they are very well connected. I think that through the years this is going to be a very fun quarterback receiver duo.
Yeah,
and as well as Moore as well. Like obviously he's here for a little while too. With he wants to retire a Bear now. He wants to. We signed him that contract, and he was very excited for it. And I think he brings the energy level we need as well.
Yeah. And I think if you're looking at yourself like a GM, so to speak, it's are you for the now or the future, right? And that's kind of you set yourself up for the future. Because even if you do get a few more, if we re-sign Keenan, and I don't know what the likelihood of that is or isn't at this point.
Right.
I love Keenan because I watched him at for a long time at San Diego look really good, you know.
Yeah.
That being said, though, Odunze, you're not letting that go.
Right.
I think the upside is more of an upside. Even Keenan Allen has said that about Odunze, and they're having been drafted together. There is that special relationship, like you mentioned. So I'm in the agreement. I'm the same way. I would go more because they already have the chemistry. He's already producing, so you already get that right now.
Yep.
You have the bench, which is the next guy up, and he can fill in as needed. And he's even bigger than DJ Moore. He's surprisingly big when you see him like out there with the other guys. And then, like I said, Keenan Allen, who I love, but you got to cut him because he's going to retire soon anyway. Yeah. And you can't let go of your future for a few games now. You've seen every team that's done that. The Rams did it and did get a Super Bowl, so it did pay off that 1 year. Yeah. But they have been in kind of rebuild since that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, everyone kind of was gone, other than Cooper Kupp, and that hasn't been the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just I think, and like I said, I think that just and it's nothing against Allen because Allen's a great receiver. Like obviously,
Yeah.
and the connection with him and Williams is looking awesome. But it's just
The hands are amazing.
yeah,
Those touchdowns, like over the shoulder, like how quickly it was like a,
yeah,
caught.
he's got very
Um,
quick hands.
Yeah.
I
But
think it's just
Adunze's, if not there, gonna be there real soon. So
yeah,
it's like, and you don't let that go for
Right.
the next decade
right,
potentially.
yeah,
If Poles can play his cards right, and
yeah.
maybe somebody takes a hometown discount to stay with the squad and get us some rings.
Right. Hope so.
Yeah. It feels better, like I said, which already makes me feel better about
Yeah.
the whole thing.
It's cool to have so much to talk about because, like, usually it'd just be the defense you're talking about and kind of that's about
Yeah.
it because the offense isn't as exciting as they should be and everything. But like
Yeah,
we
it's the
said in
struggles,
past
right?
weeks, yeah, like we said in past weeks, like who the hell's getting the ball? Because I don't know, and it's not like a bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's this could go anyway, and it's great. We got
I think I said seven or 8 targets this last week.
yeah.
With 1, 2, 3,
8.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 targets. And 7 of them caught passes. So
Yeah.
we watched Gerald Everett on the jugs machine. He not great at catching. He must be great at blocking.
Yeah.
So let's talk about last week's player stat trivia.
Yeah.
And if you got some more clues for this week,
Yeah.
see if anybody at home got it.
I'll do a quick run through. I do want to ask you too, while I do the quick run throughs, if you knew who they were. All right.
Yeah. I'll make my guesses now. Yeah.
So the first one for last week was William Mary College, undrafted in 2020, 2 NFL teams, was practice guy most of his career, offensive lineman, and had 143 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, 19 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles in college. Did you know who that was?
No, my guess was Billings.
Bill Murray.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Because I went with defensive guy because he had sacks.
Yeah, he was a defensive lineman, and Bill Belichick actually converted him
Gotcha.
to offensive line.
Oh, I did know that. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I'm a Bill Murray fan of the comedian, actor, and the lineman.
Yeah. He's got
all
a
of which
glove
are
there, right? He's a Chicago.
Come on,
fan.
can we get a tweet or something about it?
Yeah.
You gotta say something. Finally, there's a Bill Murray on the team.
There was the second one here was University of Texas, played quarterback in high school with 7,710 passing yards, first in his school, and 4,900 rushing yards, second in his school history. Moved to running back in college because of injuries in the depth chart. 2,190 yards, 23 touchdowns, 128 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. And he's been on 1 NFL team.
And that's Roshan Johnson.
Yep, it sure is.
I knew that one because it's like 1 NFL team, and
yeah.
The only reason he wasn't a starter in college is because Bijan Robinson, I believe, was there with him. So So I mean, the amount of yards he got with a guy in front of him is insane.
Yeah. Also, crazy good quarterback in high school.
Yeah, I'm curious why we don't try that out.
Yeah.
Do some Wildcat or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. As we get more, I think they've been definitely putting some more wrinkles in there, like you said. You know what I mean? Talking about that tight end pass up the seam. There's some of that stuff going on now. So.
Third one here was played at West Virginia, first team All-American in 2014, pick number 7 in the 2015 NFL Draft, 4 NFL teams, 1,954 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns in college, and has 2 brothers that played at West Virginia as well, including one that is currently a linebacker for the Cardinals.
My guess was Kevin White.
Yep.
That's the only guy that I knew that went to West Virginia that played for the Bears.
Injury-riddled Kevin
He played
White.
for 4 teams?
Yeah.
Because he went on IR for the Bears and just kind of disappeared, you know?
Yeah, it was like quick stints there, here and there. I think he was on the Patriots for a little bit. and then kind of bounced around for a little bit. And just kind of everybody. He had so much potential. It was hard not to give him a chance. Like he was a great wide receiver when he wasn't hurt, but he just got hurt so easily. It was so fragile.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that stuff is, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's how you take care of your body or if it's genetics or what, but some guys just seem, you know, when they hit the NFL, like, and he just never was. Your best ability is your availability, and he wasn't available very much. We never got to see his full potential. I didn't feel like.
Yeah.
Because he never had enough time to develop, really.
Yeah. And he was there to replace like Alshon Jeffries and stuff, so he had big shoes, and just couldn't fill those.
Yeah.
All right.
Alshon Jeffrey, look out! There's a missile.
Yeah. It's such a great video. This week's clues for next week. We'll give you the answers. The first player is played at North Carolina. Finished 10th in the Heisman voting in 2001. Had 30.5 sacks, 167 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries, and 5 forced fumbles, and 3 touchdowns. Also played in the NCAA tournament where the Tar Heels lost in the second round. Second pick overall in the 2002 NFL draft. And 3 NFL teams. One of them he was at twice.
Got it.
Think you got your answer locked in for next week?
Yep.
All right.
I know that one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Second one here is his dad was drafted by the St. Louis Steamers. Played at Penn State. 115 of 121 extra points and 39 of 61 for field goals in college. Undrafted free agent in 2005 and was on 2 teams before the season started. He was working construction before being signed in the week 3 of the 2005 season. Played on 3 NFL teams, and that's not including the 2 teams that he technically was on, but never actually played a real game with. And has the record for highest percentage of postseason field goal converted, and that's 100%.
I mean, I have my guess. I'm not. I'd say 75% on that one.
Yeah. And then the third one and final one here is played at Florida State. First game of his senior year, he recorded 4.5 sacks. Known for his big play against Miami. That was called the block at the rock. He was pick 51 of the 2017 NFL draft, and he has been on 4 NFL teams.
That's a hard one for me. I do not know.
Another hint.
Other than that, if you just gave me the clue for the last one, it was his dad was drafted by the Steamwheelers or whatever.
St. Louis Steamers.
If that was the only clue you gave me, okay. Yeah, that last one, I'm pretty sure I got on 1 and 2. I'm 100% on 1.
Extra hint for the third one is he is currently a Bear.
Okay. All right. That helps.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
But that's it. So kind of gather your guys' answers, and next week we'll see if you got them. I love doing these, though. I will say some of them are
you do a great job putting those together.
And
you do find some interesting facts. I got to say you're probably getting a higher level of Bears education than the average fan just by putting these together. But you do a great job on finding them. Because there is, it is cool.
This player's dad was actually drafted by the St. Louis Steamers when they were a team.
Lance Briggs didn't even know St. Louis Steamers was a team. You know what I mean?
The Lance Briggs one was probably my favorite, though. The friggin' novel to also crashing his Lamborghini and just walking away and saying somebody stole it.
Yeah.
It's just
some of those are just and writing books and or graphic novels and all sorts of cool stuff. So before we get out of here, how was who's Iowa face this week?
We play Michigan State at 6:30 on Saturday. Got
Okay.
that into the lights
Evening game.
So yeah,
Nice.
beat the crud out of Washington, so that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
think
feels
we
good to
I think we
get
took
back in the winning circle.
took
Alabama
Bama's
won, but it didn't
offense.
feel like we did.
I think we borrowed you guys' offense for the week.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys came alive.
Yeah.
That's right. Um, with that being said, next week we'll talk about this week's bye and what happened mostly around the NFL, because there'll be a bunch of storylines. You got the November 5th, I think it's when the trade deadline is. We'll talk about that coming up too, because there'll be some players movement happening. Should the Bears make moves, or should we move pieces? Of course, special thanks to Julie Bright and Lindsay O'Brien for allowing us the time to do this. Because not only does it take time to record this, but we also have to do our research and do our homework and all that stuff. So thank you for that.
I want to make a quick announcement too. Is that the fact that we're thinking about doing that secondary podcast here. Kind of more sports related instead of just kind of focused on NFL and Bears. Kind of having some of the weekly news around all of sports. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. There'll be more kind of details in the future. So we'll see what.
Yeah, to be honest, there's going to be some more podcasts coming. Ryan's got some great ideas for some upcoming podcasts. There'll be a family of podcasts available. So stay tuned for that. We always like to say a good night to Richard Tompkins. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you check out all of our sponsors, Fanatics, Dead Threads, and of course the Happy Can, which I got to say I've been sipping on. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
This is good. I'm drinking the Perp Slurp.
I'm drinking what is it? Citrus Haze. Kind of like a Sprite kind of thing.
If you're 21 and over, definitely check out the Happy Can. Buy thehappycan.com. Check us out next week.